If you want 2023 to be your year, there is nothing stopping you except yourself. You can change yourself in a year. You can change yourself in 6 months if you really want to. You can change your life only if you believe it and only if you want it bad enough. Just over a year ago today, I was living in Australia. I was doing jobs that weren't horrific, but they just weren't fulfilling me. I was going to bed feeling exhausted, not exhausted from working hard, but exhausted from working in a job, living a life that just wasn't lighting me up. It wasn't aligned with who I am, who I wanted to be, my dreams and my goals. It didn't line up. I guess if you're watching this video, you probably can relate to what I'm saying because you want to change your life, right? And I went from that, living in a place that also was draining me, and I wasn't feeling connected to my higher self, my purpose, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I really want to stress this. I knew that I wanted to work for myself. I knew that I wanted to have freedom to travel around and to take holidays whenever I wanted to. I knew that I wanted to work online, so I had those flexibilities to do those things. But I just didn't know what. I was never one of those girls who, when you asked me, like growing up or even in my 20s, what do you want to do, Sarah? I never had like a straight answer of like, this is what I want to do. Or like, I never had a job title in my head, like, this is what I want to do. So I understand if you're watching this video and you're like, I want those things, I just don't know exactly how to get there. I understand that, and I'm going to do so many videos on this topic because this topic really needs to be talked about more than it is. If you want those things and you're not 100% sure how to get there, don't worry, we will get there. You will get there if you want to get there, because sometimes when we want those things, we know we want to change our life. It's just about knowing that you will get there, not worrying about the how for now. I'm not saying never worry about the how, because you do need to put work in to achieve the things that you want, but don't worry about that now. A little bit of a backstory, just so you understand where I've been and how I've got to where I am now. Just so you can get to know me a little bit more, if that makes sense, because I've seen so many of these videos and I'm like, yeah, but how did you do this, and how did you kind of change your life, and what was your life before? So I just like to get to those personal things because I feel like it's more relatable, it's more real, and you'll understand a little bit more about me. And in order to learn from me. In 2013, I joined Emirates. I was very young and eager to see the world. I was a flight attendant for 7 years with Emirates. Then I quit because I fell in love with my Italian boyfriend in Bali, and I moved to Australia because that's where he lived. Then during that time, this was my discovery period. This was my roller coaster of emotions, which also is not talked about that much, where people leave like a flight attendant role, especially with Emirates, and you face this roller coaster of, I don't know what to do with my life. You feel like you lose your confidence. And I'm speaking for people because I know from speaking to people in real life that this really happens. So I left Emirates feeling very confused, didn't know what to do with my life. I was happy in my relationship, I was happy in, you know, my new adventure, but I just didn't know what I wanted to do for money, which is important, right? So I tried different jobs, I quit different jobs. It was really one hell of a roller coaster, and I was doing things that, yes, they were paying me well, but something was always missing in my gut. You know what I mean? Like, I just wanted to find my purpose, and I know that sounds really cliche and cheesy, but I genuinely I saw other people living their life like online, and I know it's not always a true perception of how people live, but some people are real. Like, I like to think I'm pretty real and genuine with my online presence, and I know some people out there are truly living the life that I wanted to get closer to. So I knew there's a way. And I always come back to this. Sorry, I'm going to be jumping around a little bit. I always come back to this. If she can do it, why can't I? Right? And this has kind of kept me going through my little endeavors and my business ideas, because if she can do it, like a girl, let's say from a similar background to me, similar upbringing, if she can do what I want to do, why can't I? The only difference is this. Right? In most cases. I can't speak for every case. I know some people come from different backgrounds where it's different. I get it. But in my case, comparing myself to people kind of on the similar background to me, if they can do it, why can't I? And it comes down to that, right? So I tried different things, wasn't happy. Really, when I worked in a gym, I worked in hotels, I worked in a property management company. I tried everything, and I was good at the stuff I was doing. And that's not me just blowing my own trumpet, but it's not because I hated the jobs, because I was terrible at it. I was good at it, but I just didn't feel fulfilled. So I started to explore what I could do. What could Sarah do? I had a couple of skills that I knew that I had, but I just didn't know how to monetize, how to use them, how to create a life around these skills, which I'm going to make other videos on in depth of how you can find your skills and how you can monetize them. So many people think they don't have skills. So many people think they might have skills, but they don't know how to use them. There's no way I can make money out of this particular skill, and you'd be so surprised. So I'll make other videos on that, but let me get back to my story. So I quit Emirates, tried different jobs, couldn't feel fulfilled in any of them, and knew that I had to make changes. I didn't know what I wanted to do, right? I didn't know. I knew that I wanted to live freely, all those things that I mentioned. I just didn't know, what did I want to do? I don't know. My boyfriend would send me like jobs like on LinkedIn, and he would send me like, maybe you'd enjoy this, try this, and every single one. And I know this sounds really snobby and like ungrateful, and I don't mean it to come across like that, but every single one he was sending me, I was like, no, like I maybe I'd get like excited for the first like couple of sentences, and then I'd read down and be like, no, just not for me. And maybe, I don't know, maybe some people are really happy with that kind of lifestyle, and there's nothing wrong with it. There is nothing wrong. I'm not saying everybody wants to quit their 9 to 5 and go and work for themselves, because it's definitely not for everyone. But for me, at those moments when I was opening these like jobs, I was like, this is just not me. This is just not what I want to do. How did I go from having no idea what I wanted to do, knowing that I wanted XYZ in terms of like this kind of lifestyle, this way of being, but not knowing what I was going to do to get there? How did I go from that to now living in Thailand in a beautiful location? We live in Phuket, which is just incredible. There's sun, as I look outside, there's a palm tree, I can see the ocean. We live right on the beach. I operate my businesses remotely. I work online. I work my own schedule. Like, it doesn't even feel real. And when I'm in this, I'm like, I don't appreciate it, I guess, as much as when I'm actually talking to you about it now. And I'm literally just talking to a camera right now, but when you watch this, I'm talking to you, right? And when I say it out loud, I'm like, how did this, like, it's incredible how this has happened, when over a year ago, I had no idea if I could even get there, you know? Let me just start by saying one thing. It's not too late. I am 30, going on 31 pretty soon, and it's not too late to make changes. It's not too late to pursue the things that you've always thought about. It is not too late to change countries, to move, to start a new hobby, whatever it is. It's not too late, right? I went through a phase of my life thinking like, I'm getting too old to like do these things. It is bullshit. You are someone who's thinking like, it's too late, I have no time, I'm too old. Stop. Because you can change your life if you want to. It all begins with, what do you want from life? And this question used to overwhelm me, and it still does overwhelm me to a certain extent, because it's forever changing. It's, you know, things happen in your life, things change, and I get it. But you have to know what kind of life that you want to live, right? You might not, and a way of getting there, in my eyes, sometimes is asking yourself what you don't want. Do the reverse if you're really stuck on this question. This question is big, but it doesn't have to be as big as you think, right? You can break it down into little sections, and I could do a whole new video on this because I feel like it deserves its own video. But you can literally just sit down, grab a pen and paper, sit down and ask yourself, what do I want from life? Right? So I knew that I didn't want to work a 9 to 5 because I wanted more freedom. Especially when I have like a family in the future, hopefully, I would like to have more freedom, right? So I wrote down like, I don't want to work a 9 to 5. I don't want to work an office job because that just kills my soul. So I wrote that down. I don't want to work an office job. I don't really want to work with the same people day in, day out who are not lifting me up. So I didn't want to be stuck with people who didn't, you know, thrive, who didn't want more from life, who didn't light up with what they're doing. Like, I just didn't want to be surrounded by those people, so I wrote that down. And there's a bunch of things that I wrote down, right? So you get my point. I was writing the things that I didn't want, because when you read those things, if you basically flip it to the opposite side of the scale, you have the things that you want. Okay, I don't want a 9 to 5. So what that means is I want more freedom. I want more time. I want to be time free. I don't really want to be on somebody else's watch. I used to hate jobs where I would literally feel like I'd have to ask if I can go on lunch. And when you take your lunch, you feel conscious of like if I take my full time that I'm allowed for lunch in other jobs, I used to feel like, oh, I feel guilty for actually taking my lunch. You know what I mean? And I knew that I never wanted to feel that again, ever in my life. Life is not about that in my eyes. So I knew that I wanted to work on my own schedule. I wanted to, if I want to take a Tuesday afternoon off because it's sunny outside and I want to go to the beach and read, that's what I'm gonna do. So write down, just brainstorm, like throw everything out there, because if I show you my journal of what I was writing a year ago, what I wanted, to what I actually have now, it is shocking. It gives me goosebumps because I have the things that I wrote down, but even when I was writing them down, to a certain extent, I was like, is this realistic? I had those doubts, which is kind of bad because you don't really want to let those creepy thoughts like creep in. But I had those doubts just like everybody else does. Like, I'm writing this, but like, is it possible? Is it possible? I know it's possible for somebody else, but is it possible for me? The next thing you need to ask yourself is, why do you want those things? Why do you want to make X amount of money, for example? An answer to that could be because I want to travel with my children when I eventually have children. I want my children to go to a good school. Why do you want to live in a foreign country? Why do you want to live in Thailand in my case? Because I wanted to live in a place where the vibration of the place is high. The people are friendly. The food is like fresh and, you know, grown here, and we can just buy it from the local market. Like, I want to feel connected to my truer self, and when I'm in this kind of place, I do feel connected to my higher self. Like, why? Come back to your why. This is really, really important. You need to ask yourself who you need to become in order to get those things, because the people who get these things, okay, you can have luck. Okay, you can come from family with money. I don't have that. But you can get there by being the person who does the things to get there. I don't know if that makes sense, because it doesn't usually happen just by chance. The people who are living that kind of life have done things to get there. They've changed their ways. They've implemented ways of being in order to achieve XYZ. Do I need to be Sarah, her old self, who was doing the old habits, old routines in the same way for the past however many years? Do I need to wake up and scroll my phone in the morning, like I've always been doing? Or do I need to wake up and exchange scroll time for reading for 10 minutes? Literally 10 minutes if you're not a huge reader. Do I need to exchange scrolling on Instagram or TikTok with listening to a podcast about something that I'm interested in? Do I need to change watching Netflix for going for a workout instead, or doing yoga for 30 minutes in the evening? It's just about those things, getting closer to the person that you want to become. And if you don't know what you need to do, find people who are doing the things that you want to do. So if you find somebody who works online and you want to do that, you want to live in, I don't know, Mexico and work online, then find people who are doing that and quiz them, find them, follow them, ask them questions if you can, because a lot of them reply, and you can ask them, what are you doing in your life? Like, find what they're doing, watch people, analyze them, and copy them. I'm not saying copy in an inauthentic way, like don't copy their business or whatever it is, but copy their way of being, because that's going to bring you closer to what you want to do. Does that make sense? When you write down who you need to become, write down like, what habits do you need to implement? What do you need to start doing more of? And what do you need to stop doing? So maybe you need to start reading, maybe you need to start waking up and not looking at your phone, maybe you need to start working out more, maybe you need to start finding friends who are like-minded, who are already living that kind of life. Maybe you need to stop procrastinating and spending time on your phone. Maybe you need to stop drinking at the weekends as much. Those things. Ask yourself, what do I need to start doing more? What do I need to stop doing? Find your people. This sounds cliche because it's been said many times, but it is so, so true. Find people who are already doing the things that you want to do and surround yourself with them. We are the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with. And if we are spending time with people who are out drinking at the weekend, every single weekend, gossiping about other people, complaining about their jobs. But when they see other people living, extra lives as in like a different way of living, a better way of living, shall we say, they will break down those people, try to drag them down, like those kinds of people. If you're surrounding yourself with those kinds of people, trust me, that's what you're going to have. If you surround yourself with people who are opening businesses, are becoming successful, are traveling, are doing the things that these people say is not possible or it's not realistic, trust me, you're going to upgrade yourself automatically. If you're like me, I don't love socializing that much. I really am. I enjoy my own company. I love being at home. I love creating content like this, and that's kind of what I wrote down in my journals. And I love those things. Socializing is really important, by the way. I'm not saying don't socialize, but if you in general prefer to stay at home, join Facebook groups. Do you know how much value is inside a Facebook group? Do you know how many things you can find out, you can learn from just by joining Facebook groups? Communities, join a local community, join, even on Instagram, find people who are inspiring and different and better. Podcasts and books, again, you'll hear it a million times on videos like this, Instagram, TikTok, you'll hear people say it, but it's truly changed my life. When the biggest change for me was when I started to wake up. I implemented a morning routine, and I started reading for half an hour every single morning. And I started reading books that were life-changing. I'll link some of my favorite books and my favorite podcasts down below, so you can perhaps get inspired and learn some things. And that's when I started to see the change in my life. I would read books and be like, oh my gosh, this is so true, 100%. And you start to realize things about yourself and the way that you do things, and you start to learn. So books is, if you're not a huge reader, then okay, listen to podcasts, go onto YouTube and listen to people who are inspiring. Journaling. If you don't know what journaling is, basically in a nutshell, it's like writing your thoughts, your dreams, your aspirations, your emotions, everything down on paper. And sometimes I open my journal and I just write, especially if I'm feeling like bad emotions, I just write because I just let it all out. Other times I'll ask myself some questions to dig a little deeper about what it is that I want from life. And that's when I realized what I was writing down, I was fighting against. So for example, a story about journaling, I was writing down in my journal, I want to live in a tropical country. I want to live in a place where they have palm trees, blue water, beautiful sand, hot, sunny, like a high vibrational place, spiritual place. Those are the things that I wrote down. But when we left Australia and we went to Europe and we were trying to figure out where, by the way, when we left Australia, we had no plan. We just packed our bags and left. So we came back to Europe. My partner's Italian, so we were thinking maybe Italy was the best choice for us because we could be closer to one of our families, la la la. So we were trying to force that to happen. He was having job offers, all that kind of stuff. But my visa, we were doing like, we had paperwork problems. We had so many things coming up. Problem after problem after problem. I was getting super stressed. I was crying. I was like, why is this not happening? Why are we not figuring this out? Why is this not happening for me? And we were getting kind of like shut down at each hurdle with this paperwork. And then one day I just sat down and I said, this is just not meant to be right now. Like the universe has given me sign after sign after sign that Italy is not for now. Not never. Not never, not saying like never, but now this is clearly a sign to just take a step back and reevaluate. So that's exactly what we did. And I didn't know that my partner was actually applying for jobs in Thailand, and I didn't know that. So I was writing again, going in my journal and writing, and I happened to flick back through my journal and just read from a year ago. And I just had this realization, like, Sarah, this is not what you wanted. Like, you didn't write this down. You didn't write down that you wanted to live in Italy, that you wanted to, eventually I do want to live there. But at that moment in that phase in my life, that's not what I wanted. That's not what I visioned for myself. So I was writing down that I wanted to live in a tropical country, a place that is spiritual, la 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 la. Everything that Thailand is, I wrote it down. I didn't say Thailand though, because I didn't know. But I knew that I wanted palm trees, ocean, la 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 la. So it's just funny that I went back to my journal and I was like, this is not what I wanted. I didn't want Italy. I wanted tropical, I wanted Thailand. So sometimes when things don't work out and things are not happening for us and we're coming up against like hurdle, and you just feel like giving up, sometimes it's best to take a step back, breathe, and just reevaluate, because that was, for me, in my eyes, that was the universe telling me, Sarah, Italy's not now. Like, in the future maybe, but now, stop it. Like, relax and just come back to your why. What do you want? Why do you want those things? And when I flicked back through my journal, that was like, ding, okay. And then things started rolling, things started happening naturally, things started flowing. And that's when Thailand happened. So it's just a reminder to, I'm not saying give up at the first hurdle and say it's the universe, but when things are just constantly like you feel like you're up against a brick wall, stop, reevaluate, breathe, and sometimes things, most of the time, things flow. They start flowing for you. It's all organic, it's all natural, and you'd be surprised to where that can lead you. Now I feel connected to my higher self, my best self. People, when they see me, and not that I look anything special whatsoever, not that I think I look anything special, but when people would see me, they're like, you look different, like you look relaxed, you look glowy, you look happier. And it's just, that's the truth, because when you're doing something that you love, it shows. It starts within and it comes out of you, like out of your pores, out of you, and that's when you know you're on the right path. And I have to change I'm sitting with my legs crossed, and I've got dead legs. So when you're connected to your higher self, it really shows, you really feel it. And that's not all I wanted, but that's what I want for myself and for my life and for my future and my children, because I want my children to grow up. My why, again, was like, I want my children to see me in like the most authentic way, not forcing myself to do with things that don't make me happy, not inauthentic in any way. I want everything to be very authentic and flowing. So fast forward to now, present day, I am very connected to myself, my higher self, my best self, and I live a life that's like true. I don't know how to describe it, like it's authentic. Like I wake up, I hear the birds singing outside, which is small, but those things matter. I wake up with sun. Most of the time we've just passed monsoon season, so mostly it's sunny. I wake up with the sunrise just outside. I live right on the beach, so I can go for a walk when I want. We bought like a kayak, so we go kayaking around the little islands. We read on the beach on the weekends. We just have simple pleasures. Like we go to the local beach, we buy coconuts from the local people, we drink coconuts, we meditate on the beach with a breeze. And I know you can do this anywhere, but I don't know, I just feel so like, we had some people come to stay in the building that we live, and they were on vacation, and they said like, I don't know what it is about this place, it just feels like like that's how I feel since I've been here. I feel like finally, like I've done it. And just a little bit about what I do is, because I know people find this interesting, I have a coaching business. I have different ways of making money, which I can delve into on another video, because I know people want to know this. But I coach, I have a YouTube channel, as you know, so you can make money that way. I have my Emirates ebook, I have my e-commerce business. What else? I have my courses. So yeah, it's like a multiple income stream, which I think is the most important thing. That's what I learned through the whole situation that we had, the horrible situation that everybody faced around the world, is not to rely on one source of income and not to rely on a corporate company to give you that source of income, because you never know what's going to happen. So I have multiple streams of income, and I run my businesses remotely, which is what I wanted and I worked hard to do. So if you're interested in working online, and if you're interested in that way of living, like working remotely online, running your own businesses, then let me know in the comments, because I have a lot of videos that I'm scheduling for this. So let me know what you want to know about that, because I would love to share more details with you. Manifestation works. It works, and I have spent many a times in the evenings, especially going to bed, thinking about what I want, trying to manifest. And how I manifest in a nutshell, this is really in a nutshell because again, this deserves its own video, but how I manifest is I write down, so all of the things I was asking myself, like what do I want in my dream life? What kind of way of living do I want to have? I'd write those down in my journal, like just brain dump everything. Then I would go to like another book. I have a separate book for manifestation. And I would write things in there as if I already have them. So it would look something like, I am so grateful that I have the sunshine coming through my windows. And this is literally what I was writing. I have the sunshine coming through my windows. I can see palm trees and it's sunny. I get to go outside and feel the warmth on my skin. It feels so good. And I would write down like details like that as if I already have. I'm so grateful that I have my own schedule, because if I feel like taking a Friday off, then I can do it. I don't have anybody else to answer to, only myself, and it feels so freeing. And I would literally just write all of this down. And then you have to, of course, like everybody manifests a little bit differently, because you need to take actions towards this. This is not just like write it down and it's all gonna happen. You do need to take actions towards it. So when we close our eyes and we visualize what we want, and I was truly going to sleep, like lying in bed before sleep, visualizing literally what we have, and feeling like, what would I feel if I had those things? What would I feel if I could wake up and just be on my own schedule and feel the warmth on my skin and feel the breeze from the ocean? And I know it sounds cheesy, but like I really tried to go deep. Like, how would that feel? And that is so powerful. Visualization is extremely powerful, because our body doesn't understand the difference between a visualization, imagining something, visualizing something, and something happening in real life. And that is extremely powerful. We all have dreams, goals, what we would share with our very good friends at home, like, oh, you know, I wish I could do this, or I've always thought about doing this, right? We all have those thoughts. But so few people take action towards them. So few people actually follow through with the things that they've been thinking about for years. And that really hurts me, because I also like doubted myself and all those things. But it's all about this. If this is in the right place, if you believe in yourself enough, if you let go of things that are holding you back, and you get to that kind of like, you shift your energy and you get to that vibration that things just start moving for you, things start happening for you, doors start opening, opportunities start coming. That is where the magic happens. But it all begins with this. If this is not in the right place, nada's gonna happen. Nothing is gonna happen. Now, if you're serious about making changes, I'm gonna do a little self-plug here. I have my course, which is a 7-day mindset course. I've called it Shift Your Energy. And this starts from the 1st of January. It's 7 days long, hence the name. And it's little tasks and tools and tips and tricks that I've helped myself with, that I share with you. It takes half an hour to an hour a day for 7 days. You don't have to start on January 1st. You can start whenever you'd like. But I would encourage you to start the new year on a high, to enter the new year with a different kind of like vibration. I'm all about vibrations and energy, and that's why I've named it Shift Your Energy, to really give yourself the best chance in 2023 to achieve the things that you want. So many people enter the new year with it, you know, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, and then you fall off track within a couple of weeks. And that's where most people fail. That's where most people lose all of their dreams and lose track of what they really want, and don't continue down that road. And this is all about continuing down that road and keep pushing forward to get the life that you want. So if that's something you're interested in, I have a couple of spots left. Enrolments close 27th of December. It's only £22. It will double in price from the new year, and I only open this a couple of times a year. It doesn't matter which location you're in, which time zone, because it's all done online, power of the internet. If that's something you're interested in, follow the link down below and sign up, and I will see you on January 1st. For everybody else, thank you so much for watching. I love making this kind of content, so if it's something you're interested in and you want to see something more, comment down below, and I'll see you in the next video.